This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This recording is by Mark Smith of Simpsonville, South Carolina. Uncle Remus by Joel Chandler Harris. Volume 4, His Sayings, Saying number 19, As a Weather Prophet. Uncle Remus was enlightening a crowd of negroes at the car shed yesterday. "There ain't nothin'," said the old man, shaking his head pensively, "that ain't got no change wrote on it. There ain't nothin' that ain't spotted before it begins for to commence. We all experiences that Providence what lifts us up from one place and sets us down in the other. It's continually a movin' and a movin'." "That's so. You're talkin' now," came from several of his hearers. "I hear Miss Sally readin' this mornin'," continued the old man, "that a man was comin' down yer for to take keer of de weather, one of dese yer burro mens what goes around a puttin' up and pullin' down." "What he gwine do round here?" asked one. "He's a gwine to regulate de weather," replied Uncle Remus sententiously. "He's a gwine to fix it up so that there won't be so much worriment among de white folks about the kind of weather what falls to their lot." "He's gwine dish 'em up," suggested one of the older ones, "like a man dish out sugar." "No," answered Uncle Remus, mopping his benign features with a very large and very red bandana. "He's gwine to fix 'em better'n dat. He's gwine to fix 'em up so you can have any kind of weather what you want without toting her home." "How's dat?" asked someone. "Hit's dis way," said the old man thoughtfully. "In course you knows what kind of weather you want. Well, den, when de man comes along, which Miss Sally say he will, you jest gotta go up dar, pick out your weather, and there'll be a clock set for to suit your case. And when you get home, there'll be your weather a settin' out in de yard waitin' for you. I wish you was yer now," the old man continued. "I'd take a pair of frosts in mine, if I cotch cold fer it. That's me." There were various exclamations of assent, and the old man went on his way singing, "Don't you grieve out of me." End of saying. Saying number 20, The Old Man's Troubles. "What makes you look so lonesome, Brer Remus?" asked a well-dressed negro as the old man came shuffling down the street by James's corner yesterday. "You er mighty right. I'm lonesome, Brer John Henry. When an ole nigger like me has got to paddle de canoe and do de fishin' at de same time, and when you bleeds to catch de fish and dassent turn de paddle loose for to bait de hook, den I tell you, Brer John, you er right where de mink had de goslin'. Mars John and Miss Sally, dey done been gone down unto Putmon County fer to see der kinfolks mighty nigh 4 days, and you better believe I done been had to scratch round mighty lively for to make de rations run out even." "I was at your house last night, Brer Remus," remarked Brer John Henry, "but I couldn't roust you outer bed." "It was de unseasonableness of de hour, I expect," said Uncle Remus dryly. "'Pears unto me that you all church deacons settin' up mighty late these cold nights. You be slippin' round after hours some time or another, and you'll slip bodaciously into de calaboose. You mind what I tell you." "It's mighty cold weather," said Brer John Henry, evidently wishing to change the subject. "Cold!" exclaimed Uncle Remus. "Hit got past cold on de quarter stretch. You oughter come to my house the night 'fore las', den you'd a found me live and kickin'." "How's that?" "Well, I tell you, Brer John Henry, de cold was so cold, and de kiver was so light, dat I thunk I'd make a raid on Mars John's shingle pile, and out I goes and totes in a whole armful. Den I gits under de cover and tells my ole woman for to lay 'em onto me like she was roofin' a house. Bimeby she crawls in, and de shingles what she put on her side for to cover wid, dey all drap off on de floor. Den I gits up and piles 'em on again, and when I gits in bed my shingles drap off, and dat's de way it was de whole blessed night. Fust it was me up, and den de ole woman, and it jest kept us powerful warm too, dat kind of exercise. Oh, you oughter drap round 'bout dat time, Brer John Henry. You'd a yeard sho' nuff cussin'. You don't tell me, Brer Remus. My old woman say de old boy wouldn't have found a riper nigger if he were to scour the country from Virginia to Alabama. End of saying. Saying number 21, the 4th of July. Uncle Remus made his appearance recently with his right arm in a sling, and his head bandaged to that extent that it looked like the stick made to accompany the centennial bass drum. The old man evidently expected an attack all around, for he was unusually quiet, and fumbled in his pockets in an embarrassed manner. He was not mistaken. The agricultural editor was the first to open fire. "Well, you old villain, what have you been up to now?" "It is really singular," remarked a commencement orator, "that not even an ordinary holiday, a holiday, it seems to me, that ought to arouse all the latent instincts of patriotism in the bosom of American citizens, can occur without embroiling some of our most valuable citizens. It is really singular to me that such a day should be devoted by a certain class of our population to broils and fisticuffs." This fine moral sentiment, which was altogether an impromptu utterance, and which was delivered with the air of one who addresses a vast but invisible audience of young ladies in white dresses and blue sashes, seemed to add to the embarrassment of Uncle Remus, and at the same time to make an explanation necessary. "Dey ain't none of you young white men never had no 'casion fer to strike up with one of dese yer Mobile niggers?" asked Uncle Remus. "'Cause if you is, den you knows whereabouts de devilment come in. Show me a Mobile nigger," continued the old man, "and I'll show you a nigger dat's marked for de chain gang. Hit may be de 4th or de 5th of July, or it may be de 12th of January, but when a Mobile nigger gets in my neighborhood, right den and there trouble sails in and engages boat afore de season. I speck I'm as fond of dese United States as de next man what knows dat the burrow is busted up, but long as Remus can stand on his hind legs, no Mobile nigger can't flip into dis town longer no West Point inspection and boss around 'mong de colored folks. Dat's me up and down, and I'll bound there's a nigger somewheres on de road dis blessed day dat's got dis put away in his 'members." "How did he happen to get you down and maul you in this startling manner?" asked the commencement orator with a tone of exaggerated sympathy in his voice. "Maul who?" exclaimed Uncle Remus indignantly. "Maul who? Boss, the nigger dat mauled me ain't borned yet, and dey a got to have anudder war 'fore one is borned." "Well, what was the trouble?" "Hit was sorter dis way, boss. I was standin' down dere by Mars John Jeems's bank, chattin' with Sis Tempy, which I ain't seed her before now gwine on 7 year, and watchin' de folks trompin' by, when one of dese yer slick-lookin' niggers, wid a bee gum hat and a brass watch as big as the head of a beer barrel, come along and bresh up agin me, just like so. Dere was 2 of 'em, and dey went 'long gigglin' and laughin' like a nessel of yeller hammers. Bimeby dey come along agin, and de smart aleck brush up by me once more. Den I say to myself, I lay I fetch you ef you give me anudder invite. And sho' enough, here come agin, and dis time he rub a piece of watermillion rime under my left year." "What did you do?" Me, I'm a mighty long-sufferin' nigger, but he hadn't no more'n touched me 'fore I flung dese yer bones in his face." Here Uncle Remus held up his damaged hand triumphantly. "I sorter sprained my hand, boss, but dog my cats ef I don't believe I spattered de nigger's eyeballs on de ground, and when he riz his countenance looked fresh like beef haslet. I look mighty spindlin' and puny now, don't I, boss?" inquired the old man with great apparent earnestness. "Rather." "Well, you jest oughter see me get my African up. Dey used to call me a bad nigger long 'fo' de war, and it looks liker to me dat I gits wuss and wuss. Brer John Henry say dat I oughter subdue my rashfulness, and I don't 'spute it. But turn a Mobile nigger loose in dis town, 4th of July or no 4th of July, and me and him, one is goin' to land in jail. It's proned into me." And that's the last of the sayings in Uncle Remus. End of book.